Yeah.
Just, it doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. That was really, stuff doesn't mean anything to me, even though I like nice things.
Sure.
I really upped my game. I really like the stuff I'm going to buy is going to be nice.
Right. So you kind of learned the less is more.
Exactly. That was good. Another takeaway is just the kindness and watching other, like our home teacher, if there's anything I could do for you. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, there is. It was just, I didn't know where to start. They didn't know where to start. It was so big.
So you probably took some real learning to be vulnerable, because it sounds like, and just from what I'm seeing from you, you're a go-getter person. You're a champion. People like you often aren't used to needing help exactly. Because you're the person who's just throwing the parties and hosting the events and getting things done. And you're probably the person that if somebody needs something done, they're going to ask you, because the busiest people are the ones who can do the most.
Right.
And so I'm sure for you, there was a period of time where you're like, I don't even know how to allow people to come in and help me.
Well, my son to this day is like, I can't really get a single meal, dinner. He goes, how many did you bring? And I go, I didn't even have utensils to even eat the food. I mean, people would bring it. And I'm like, well, I don't even know what to do with this, because we don't even have plates.
Where were you? Did you stay like at a hotel?
Yes.
Yeah. Until you could get into a place?
Yeah. Yeah. It was horrible. I mean, we were on vacation. We were glamping for weeks. And had no, place to land. It was interesting.
Wow. So from this, your family found the water skiing. I mean, you were water skiing before, but that's when you really discovered water skiing as a sport, like as a serious professional sport for you. And here's what I love, and I want you to speak to this, if you will. You didn't just find it and discover it yourself, and you mentioned this. You did it as a family.
Yeah. We're one of the few, actually. So you'll see a lot of men are in it and their wives don't do it. It's intimidating. It's a scary sport. It terrifies me. I will say, I am not a speed adrenaline junkie like most of them. My husband is. And he, watches film all the time. He's technical about it. And I'm just like, I'm just going. And as a result, that's kind of the results I've gotten.
Yeah.
So I finally just went, no, I want to qualify for nationals. And he's qualified for the last 2000, what was it? When did COVID start?
2020.
That was his first year on qualifying. First year they did not
have it. He's like, I made it, and now I can't do it.
Now I can't go. And so, so that was just always a dream that we would do it together. And so last year was our first year that I qualified. And he went. And it's interesting competing as a team. I will tell you. So we went to regionals, and he didn't do as
and
well.
Regionals are in Florida, or California?
Every other year,
back and forth.
East Coast, West Coast.
Okay.
So last year it was in California, and we went, and he did not complete a pass that he does in his sleep, and I'm like, what happened? And it was horrible, because he is really technical, and he's just doesn't miss that, and it was really. Like, we just flew out here and we bombed at regionals. This is not a place to bomb.
Yes.
And he said he got in a clump of weeds and they have like buoys where you land. So you come in and you land, and he said he just got in a clump of weeds and it was all over him and he couldn't shake them off. And they're like, and the boat has a timer. And so they're like, are you ready to go? And he said, I can't even get out. I can't even get my ski out.
Oh, wow.
And so he was stuck.
And so there's no way to really
he was just throwing the weeds off, and then he was exhausted. He said by the time he did that normal pass that's easy for him, he said he was just, so live and learn.
Sure.
Know? Anyway,
well, you can't really prepare for that.
No,
I mean, that's not
challenges. Yeah, you have different challenges, but everybody had that. Weeds were everywhere, but some people navigated it better.
Wow.
And it just happened to probably, clump. Just happened to go right where my
that old saying, like, don't get caught in the weeds. I mean, that has new meaning for your family. Like, wow, that's really important to us now. Yeah. Literally.
Right. It doesn't, well, and then you navigate anyway. So he didn't do as well as he wanted. I got wind, which is none of our group did really well, but I got, I did a pass that is usually easy, but at least I made it. So I was semi-happy when we were driving home, but it's hard when you've got one person really not happy and the other one's happy. It's so hard. So yeah.
So do you have like some
So-
song you sing or put on the radio,
Are
some
we-
like
yeah.
some rituals to like, okay, we got to
should.
get this mood
We should.
flipped
We have a
around.
rule that, like in baseball, we learned this because baseball's a hard sport. And my son would play and he would just go, no talking about it,
Mhm.
24-hour rule.
Yeah, just give me some time
Yeah,
to process
'cause
this.
It'll all work out. But right now, I'm really mad.
Yeah. Well, and we need that for everything. Even with the fire, you said it took time before you kind of recognize all the losses. And with the sports, it's smart. Just give me a minute. I
24
got to
hours.
get through this loss, and then I'm going to come back
And it'll
with a
make you
fresh
better.
perspective, and probably come back wanting to watch the tapes or review and learn what I need to do. So you and your husband do it. Your kids do it too. How many kids do you have?
So I have 3 children.
Okay.
My daughter has 2 of her own. We're hoping to get the grandkids in it. So we have a 3-year-old.
Fun.
And so right now is just making them want to come
Yes.
to the lake. So it's just very much, and we're all, we say he's gotten up, but it's, it's more like
We're
we
pulling him
held
up. Yes.
we held him, we tied him to the ski, and you have no choice.
Yes. It's a
So-
child
and
prodigy,
it's-
ski
and it's-
prodigy.
Exactly. And just to, get used to the noise of the boat, and
Yes.
just, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's
It's a different
scary.
feeling, but you start them young, and then they.
yeah. And
you
they get
know.
used to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're excited for that. For him.
Well, one of my favorite things, because I remember getting married, and you'll think this is funny. I loved this sport so much that I asked for a wave runner for my honeymoon. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And it was a double cedar wave runner that was strong enough that you could pull a water skier. And so we didn't go on a honeymoon, like a special, exciting one. We did go up to Park City, and actually my friend September, they had a condo, and I think they had heard that we weren't doing anything. And so Doug, her husband, gave my husband an envelope, or my soon-to-be husband, that had like, you're going to go stay at our condo in Park City. You have to do something. Isn't that so cute? And it even had like, I think $200 cash in the envelope. So we literally joke to this day that they paid for our honeymoon. And this was a best friend of mine at the time.
Which is a mutual friend, surprisingly.
Yes, I know.
So
I love these connections. But we instead had this wave runner, and I loved it because we could just get out and play and have something to do, but we couldn't afford a boat. But it was just like, okay, we're going to start where we can. And then I wanted to get a boat. I even thought, I want a boat before we can get a house, because of course the house is a bigger
You're my
buy. And then we did not end up getting the boat before the house, but we did end up getting a boat as soon as I could. And I wanted it because this is where I'm going with it. I wanted my young kids to grow up boating, because I had wished that we had had a boat growing up, and we didn't. And I was blessed with getting, in fact, this is in my life, this is how it's mostly gone, is I've experienced things by being blessed by my sisters, my friends that have shown me something or allowed me an opportunity, or I've just seen it through them. And then it's been such a gift to me that it's helped me dream. It's helped me figure out the things that I want to do. And I've always been so grateful for that. So we got a boat, and then I had all these little kids, and we take them boating, and we never became champions at all, which is why I'm so inspired by you.
You
But
can start. We
I
can
can't-
tell you out now. You can't even.
Wow, I
they
hadn't
have
even thought of that.
they have novice tournaments, and you can't believe the crazy group that would just embrace a family.
Uh-huh. That's an interesting thought. I'm gonna have to think on that.
I would
What-
call you in.
What a
anytime.
challenge to lay
Yes.
down.
Well, and even, you could start with, I'm going to come see a tournament. I'm gonna
Yeah.
come see what that is. I'm going to
Yeah.
come maybe help on the dock. You could start, I don't know if they do starting docks. If they
Right.
have you, do the handles.
Right.
And then, you could be a judge, a boat
Uh-huh.
judge.
So, but just to be a
Yeah.
part of it in some way,
Yeah.
that would be really fun. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon. I'm gonna come watch
'Cause they're all
you.
private lakes, so you should come
Yes.
join. You wouldn't get a chance to be on these lakes otherwise. so,
Right, which is really interesting in itself.
Yeah.
But so what I love about putting your family on a boat, though, is that you're contained.
Right.
And you had mentioned this before. And so tell me about that, because I felt like it helps you to grow closer as a family, to take not a Sunday in our case, but a Saturday, and go spend it on the lake where kids normally would be doing other things with friends. And instead you just have their attention.
Love that.
You just kind of box them in. They can't really go far. You can take a swim break and get out of the boat. But otherwise, I would have their attention, have them all to myself in a fun way that they didn't resent, but it was something they enjoyed doing and being with the family. And I love those small spaces.
So growing up, I mean, of course, we would ask, what are we doing on Saturday.
Mhm.
The kids are, and we're like, you know what we're doing.
You
We're
just
at-
know.
we'll be at the lake.
Yeah.
And so the kids who were as teenagers hanging out with their parents, and we would go early enough so
Uh-huh.
they could still play with
Sure.
their friends in the evening, but at least they'd get their
But and they weren't forced to.
No.
You
they
made
have to
something
go.
fun that they
Yeah.
want to come do.
Yeah. So that was the night. And they didn't have their cell phones going, and they didn't have TV. There were no other distractions.
Yes.
It's really a neat way to grow up.
Yeah.
So and to bring them, they're talking, and
Uh-huh.
because teenagers are tough.
Right.
It's not easy, but if you can bring them in, something you enjoy, and
Mhm.
you can talk on the dock, and it's a great
Yeah,
way.
it's tough to fight for their attention, and especially if they're active and you want them to be active. I used to think the secret to keeping my kids safe in many ways and not getting into things that could be destructive to them was to keep them busy. And so whether that was my girls busy, and well, some did sports, some did dance, and my boys were all sports, just loved it. But you want them to be busy, so you're promoting that. But then that very thing that you want for them to be busy is actually can take them away from family time. And so it's a hard balance of finding things that it's like that they want to do, because you've trained them up to want to be with their friends and want to be on their teams, but yet you also want them to be with you. So I think that we've got to, by upping our game and having a fun activity where they choose it is fantastic.